Welcome back to the channel. We're gonna do it again. 5 more crazy, creepy, or just plain weird things found in old photographs. You won't believe what we have in store for you this time. But before we get started, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Number 5. The devil is in the details. There are many photographs of people from the early 1900s that seem normal at first until you take a closer look. This black and white photo seems to show a boy standing next to his mother with her arm around his shoulder. The photo looks to have been taken outdoors, perhaps outside their home. Everything seems normal until you realize something isn't right. The boy's eyes appear to be glowing red, an effect that was created by shining a bright light into the camera lens. It was popular among photographers of the time to use this technique to achieve these kinds of effects. But some believed that these photos could actually capture the devil himself. The idea being that if you invited the devil into your home and took his picture, he would reward you by granting a wish. The only problem was that once the devil made his presence known in a photo, he had the power to claim the soul of one of the people pictured. The parents who wanted their children to be photographed with the devil would often make a deal with him, offering up the child in exchange for their wish. Some say that this practice is the reason behind all those missing children cases that have never been solved. Number 4. A ghostly encounter. In 2010, a photo was posted online that had been taken at an amusement park in Santa Cruz, California. What started out as a fun day at the beach turned spooky when a user uploaded a photo they took while riding the Giant Dipper roller coaster. When the photo was posted, it immediately drew attention because in the background of the photo, there appears to be the shadow of a man standing on the ride's platform. The man doesn't appear to be attached to the ride in any way, and his pose is unnatural, making it seem as though he might not even be alive. Some say the image shows the ghost of a man who died while working on the construction of the roller coaster. Others believe that the photo may have captured the spirit of someone who died while riding the attraction. Before it was closed for renovations in 1996, the Giant Dipper was open continuously for over 80 years. Many accidents occurred on the ride, which has been described as terrifying, but it never officially closed. So it's quite possible that the number of visitors injured or killed on the ride is unknown. Whether or not the mysterious man in the photo is the ghost of someone who died remains a mystery. But the fact that the photo was taken on such a popular ride may be more than just a coincidence. Number 3. Dead man's shadow. In the early days of photography, getting the perfect shot wasn't always easy. Sometimes it took multiple attempts to get everyone lined up just right, and other times it took convincing someone who didn't want to be in the picture to stay still for a few seconds. These 2 men learned this lesson the hard way when they snapped a photo of 2 men walking across a street. The men walked right into the frame of the photo, ruining what was supposed to be an image of an empty street. But when they looked closely at the finished product, they realized that one of the men in the picture wasn't even alive. The figure in the middle of the road appears to be the shadow of a man who died in an accident at the same location shortly before the photo was taken. Though the story has never been confirmed, it's believed that the man in the shadow was killed by a car that sped through the intersection and never stopped. His body lay in the street until it was discovered by the photographer and his friend. They were so shocked by what they saw that they immediately dropped the camera and ran for cover. They waited until the area had been cleared and then returned to retrieve their camera. After they developed the film, they realized that they had captured more than just the shadow of a dead man. The photograph also contained the ghostly image of a woman who had been walking nearby when the accident occurred. She was so traumatized by the incident that she fled the scene without stopping to help the man who had been killed. Years later, the photographer showed the image to his friends, who told him that the woman in the photo was their sister. She had been missing for over 20 years, and no one had seen her since the day of the accident. Number 2. Portrait of a monster. When Sir Arthur Conan Doyle published his first Sherlock Holmes story in 1887, it was an instant success. The public had fallen in love with the brilliant detective and his trusty sidekick, Dr. Watson. Together, they had solved countless mysteries and brought criminals to justice. But in 1912, something strange happened. The public's love for Sherlock Holmes turned into something dark and sinister. A series of photos began circulating that purported to show the famous detective's greatest enemy, Professor James Moriarty. The problem was that Professor Moriarty was a fictional character, and the photos were likely of a real person. Despite this, people were convinced that they were looking at the most dangerous criminal mastermind in the world. They flocked to see the photos, which were displayed in shop windows and on billboards. And soon, rumors began spreading that Professor Moriarty was planning to commit a series of murders in London. People were so afraid that they refused to walk the streets at night and barricaded themselves inside their homes. Then, as quickly as it had started, it ended. The photos disappeared, and with them, the fear of Professor Moriarty. But not before leaving an indelible mark on the public imagination. To this day, people are still fascinated by the story of Professor Moriarty and the photos that may or may not have captured him in all of his infamy. Number 1. Alien Autopsy. On July 8, 1947, a rancher named Mac Brazel stumbled across some strange debris while surveying his property near Corona, New Mexico. The debris was unlike anything he had ever seen before, made up of rubber strips, tin foil, brightly colored cloth, and a strange green material that resembled surgical gauze. At first, Brazel assumed that the debris was from a crashed airplane, but when he reported his discovery to the local sheriff, he was told that no planes were missing in the area. Soon, the story of Brazel's bizarre discovery reached the ears of Major Jesse Marcel, who was in charge of intelligence for the Roswell Army Airfield. Marcel was intrigued and asked to examine the debris. After inspecting the materials, Marcel came to the conclusion that they were not from this world. He sent a message to his superiors informing them of his belief that an alien spacecraft had crashed on Brazel's property. The news spread like wildfire, and soon the whole world was talking about Roswell. But the excitement was short-lived. The military quickly released a statement saying that the debris was actually from a crashed balloon that had been used to study weather patterns. The public was disappointed, but no one could have predicted what was about to happen next. In the decades that followed, Marcel's original report was leaked and the conspiracy theories began anew. Some believe that the government covered up the truth about Roswell to protect national security. Others believe that the government simply didn't know what had crashed in Roswell and made up a story to explain it away. Still, others believe that the government did know the truth and has been hiding it from us ever since. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence is a series of photos that purport to show the alien that was recovered from the crash site. The photos were taken by Major Walter Haut, who was in charge of public relations for the Roswell Army Airfield. In the photos, we see an alien that looks like nothing we have ever seen before. It is small and gray with huge black eyes and a thin, wiry body. Some believe that the photos are real, while others believe they are a hoax. But one thing is for sure, they have captured the imagination of people around the world. Thanks for watching. Which of these stories did you find the most fascinating? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'll see you next time.